The most important thing that I would give as an advice for work from home is boundaries. Is you have to set a new routine for yourself. But you just create like certain new things na to change your mindset na I'm gonna be in work mode now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Loop Me In. This is the podcast for job seekers, young millennials in the workforce, and for the go-getters and the visionaries. In Loop Me In, we will discuss the new opportunities in the job market, trends, innovations in different industries, and we will loop in thought leaders in different industries as well to pick their brains and listen to their inspiring success stories. By the way, this is Jules Rodriguez, and I'm co-founder of Plastic Tides. Our nonprofit organization is on a mission to clean the rivers and seas, not just here in the Philippines, but also in the entire world. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Facebook, and Podbean. And of course, you can also catch us in our official website, connectpodcast.net. The coronavirus, COVID-19. We all heard about it before the start of 2020, but let's accept it. Most of us somewhat ignored the spread of the virus happening within our Asian neighbor. Maybe because China seemed so far from our country, or maybe because we thought a superpower like China could stop the spread of this virus across the globe. This could be some of the reasons why we didn't pay too much attention. But suddenly, around March, we got the first case in the Philippines. The count started from 1, then it became 10, then after a few weeks, we're now counting by the hundreds, then by the thousands. So on March 16, 2020, our president, together with the DOH and the Interagency Task Force, or IATF, announced that everyone should stay home until April 12, 2020. So on June 1, the quarantine started to ease a little bit, with the government implementing the general community quarantine. Protocols are not strict compared to the first few months of the ECQ. But because of the number of COVID-19 cases continues to increase, some companies and employers are still concerned about the health and safety of their workers. But one thing's certain surrounding all of these uncertainties. Everyone must stay in their homes. If you can work from home, please work from home. Seems simple, but the challenge right now is how do we find a way to be efficient and productive working from home? The home should be a place where we can relax, bond with the family, eat without thinking about the time, take a nap, or watch Netflix and chill. But now our homes are converted to a place where we need to meet deadlines, close some deals, brainstorm ideas, respond to emails. Before they used to say, never bring your work home. But how can we do that if our living room is actually where we make a living? So ladies and gentlemen, for this episode, we're looping in the founder of Belle De Jour Power Planners to talk about some tips on how to work from home efficiently and effectively. She's also worked in several companies like Summit Media, Johnson & Johnson's, and Procter & Gamble. Her mission is to empower people to act on their dreams through journals and community conversations. Let's all welcome Miss Darlyn Ty-Nilo. Hi, Dar, and welcome to Loop Me In.
Hi, Jules. Thank you for having me. This is a very exciting conversation. To be honest, like siguro early, like January, I
Mm-hmm.
think this year, I was being interviewed for a work from home setup from our new office. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was like sharing, I think it can work for other companies, but not for our company.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
look at us now. It's what
Parang,
date is it? It's end of June, and we're actually almost 100% work from home up to now in our company. So it's like a really major drastic change for us, for everyone, I guess.
And you have a new office. So
Yes.
where's the office?
Our office is in Mandaluyong. It's
I'm
been
in
we've been there
Mandaluyong.
for we've been there for a year, and
Okay.
then we haven't been able to celebrate our 1 year anniversary in the office because we're all in lockdown.
I understand also that Belle De Jour allows people to kind of solidify their goals and pretty much like put a plan.
Mhm.
And among all the different products that you wanted to start a business with, what was it about planners, journals? What was it about the written information that you found valuable?
Okay, so just to share a bit of my personal story of, if you don't mind, like
I would love that. Thank you.
why I started doing the BDJ planner, or the planner to begin with, was actually, it was because it was the lowest point in my life. I graduated from UP Diliman. I got the best offers from the multinational companies around. I mean, in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
But during my first year out of college, I really just had my major failure. Number one was I decided to take the board exam accountancy while
Mm-hmm.
I was taking a full time corporate job. So there was like a lot of, mayabang ako eh. I was confident I could do it,
Okay lang.
even
Okay lang.
though even though like a lot of people, like our teachers, everyone, mentors, coaches, would tell me parang I shouldn't do it. But maybe I had that I didn't want to miss the opportunity to work for these companies, and at the same time I didn't want to waste this opportunity of passing the board exam.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the classic case of I want it all now.
Yeah, have your cake and eat it too.
Yes, so I
Uh-uh.
went for it, and then it crashed and burned in my face for in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
So from being on top of the world, I was conditional passing the board exam. I
Gets.
didn't get regularized in my job.
Gets.
So,
Gets.
sobrang, it's like a hit on the ego coming from, parang, I was well awarded when I graduated. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was like really starting from scratch, or I felt like I had to pick up the pieces. When you graduate from college kasi, 'di ba? You're
Mm-hmm.
so full of promise and like, oh, I
Yeah, they
can do
tell you
anything.
you're gonna change the world.
Yeah, you're gonna change the world. You're gonna do this. And then my first year, yun yung nangyari sa akin. And then
Get.
I went back. I guess I went back what worked for me in high school and college, because I was an achiever. So I wasn't used to this failure, so to speak. So I had to go back. And then I felt like, oh, maybe it wasn't the plan of having my cake and eat it too. It was really that I didn't schedule my time properly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gets.
even during that time, like right after the incident, and I was like reviewing my past life, past 6 months, past 1 year, wherein I was like a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
When my friends would take me out, I would be working in the office because it's a corporate job. You know how corporate jobs are, like 14 hours you're in the office, right?
Yeah.
So, and
Wild.
my travel time during
Mm-hmm.
that time, and this is like 14, 15 years ago, so the
Yeah.
traffic isn't as bad as it is now. It
Fair.
was still
Fair.
around 2 hours
Oh my
one way.
gosh.
Okay. So
Oh.
one way, it's 2 hours. I stay in the office for 14 hours, and then I go back home for another 14 hours. And I was lucky enough not to be commuting. Okay. So I already had this in a way blessed life wherein I didn't have to commute to work. I work 14 hours for a week, Mondays to Fridays, and weekends. I was also working, I was studying for the boards for 12 hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay. 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 Sorry. It's just so parang the way you're talking about it palang it's so overwhelming na just to think that that's what your time was all about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
Sorry.
doing that roughly for 6 months kasi yun yung time that was needed. So I was like really crazy. And despite me being crazy during that time, after that experience, when I was processing it, I didn't think that it was the plan that was flawed. My thought was, oh, maybe I just didn't manage my time well.
Wow. Actually, that's kind of also pretty self-aware if you think about it. Like some people will blame an external parang force or, an external factor. Pero it takes a lot to admit na Ito yung may
Yeah.
kasalanan.
Ako talaga. So I was like, I guess that was the time na parang I was like, looking back, I was thinking like, okay, I need to plan my time better. So that's where I started reading up more on time management, like how do you best manage your time. I also reviewed like what were the stuff that worked for me when I was in high school and college, because in life in general, parang it's always looking about what were your success patterns. And no matter how bad you feel that your life is magulo or whatever, meron kang success pattern because you're still here. That
and
we're still here.
and yun nga, parang to be able to recognize nga the patterns that work for you versus the ones that don't. I think that's already a great way to say, okay, maybe I can spend less time on this thing, which overall becomes detrimental for me or my time. Kasi I know it's so cliche to say that time is money and time is gold, but I also feel like that's how people want to materialize why they feel like time is so valuable. It's really the it's like you manage it like money. If you don't manage it well, ikaw yung talo. You lose opportunities as well.
Correct. And the other thing is, I guess one of the things what I learned with the management principles when I was reading during that time was that time is actually should be seen as tangible, because people think time is intangible. So they think that, oh, I can fit like 1 million things that I can do in 24 hours. So, but you have to look at time as finite in a way, because you just have 24 hours and you need to have proper sleep. So you have to 6 to 8 hours. So that's less on your 24 hours. Before the work at home setup, you have your commuting time, right? So, or you're traveling to the office. So that's 2 to 4 hours. In my case, it was 4 hours. So all of these things you have to be able to factor in, because if you think if you prop yourself up that I need to do like 1 million things in a span of 6 hours, then you're not being realistic. Once you don't become realistic, you start beating yourself up na parang, ang bulok ko kasi, hindi kasi ako magaling, so that's why hindi ko natatapos yung work ko. But you have to do a reality check. Are these 100 to do things to do really reasonable in a 6 to 8 hour time span?
Yeah, that's
And
true. Actually, sa college crammer ako. That was my
oh, then,
biggest. I was such a crammer. Bad time management. Lagi akong late. But later on in life, I also realized, I'm not saying nagbago ako. No, but yung point ko dun is parang I didn't value it the way other people valued it. So to me, I felt like I wasn't respecting other people by not valuing their time. So as I grew up, I realized nga na parang I have to be true to my word if I'm going to be there at this time. At the very smallest sense, I have to be true to my word or do the best that I can to reach it. Kasi if someone is very specific about managing their time because they see it as money and you're wasting their time, you're wasting their money. So you don't want to hang out with anyone who's wasting your money. I love the fact that the planner idea kasi for me is the most parang mind-blowing for a country like the Philippines. I feel like the Philippines, the community here really appreciates and accepts clear and direct information that can help them be more efficient. So having a planner actually allows people to now not just organize their time, but also direct their life. So that's where I feel like the real empowerment comes in. Parang, how do you feel that? What are your thoughts on that? That some people would say it's a planner, it's paper, it's whatever, but a book can change a person's life. So how do you feel about that?
when I started the Belle De Jour Power Planner after that failure in my life, it was actually to fix my life. And that's why I started with there's goals tracking, there's time management principles to help me manage on a day-to-day basis. And it just constantly reminds me. And what is important that I learned about it is not just that time is tangible, but also knowing your intention for your goals should be very clear to you. And with me, that's why in a way laugh at myself for that time in my life, that it feels really ridiculous that I thought that I should be doing those things. Not that I'm saying you shouldn't if you really wanted to. But after much self-reflection, I realized I didn't really want to take the boards. It wasn't what my heart's desire was. Also, the work in the corporate world that I was doing wasn't also something I wanted. So that was the funniest part.
You didn't
I
want any.
mean, I wanted to have it all, but the truth of the matter is those all wasn't exactly what I personally wanted. It was just what society, family was telling you that no, Dar, sayang yung opportunity, you should do this. You finished, you graduated in a prestigious university course, all of these, maximize them, diba? But and I tried to do it, and it just like and I went. I mean, and it resulted to that failure. But the truth is, it saved my life because helped me regroup, recalibrate. Like, what do I really want? And at the same time, yeah, I can work for things. I can manage my time well. But it's useless to manage your time well to do things that you don't necessarily really want. So, yun yung as in one of the biggest things that I learned from that experience. Of course, there's so much more that you learn from a failure because I mean, right now maybe it seems very small, but during that time it was like the biggest thing because in our college, we have like 100% passing. So if you don't
Wow. Wow.
everybody
Sorry.
goes to the bar.
Okay.
Gets it's I
Okay.
mean it sounds like parang a small failure but it's really a big failure. Like I had relatives who would tell me na it's impossible, that's not true, I don't believe that because Dar is so smart. Gets
Uh-uh.
I mean ganun talaga
Uh-uh.
yung impact
Gets.
niya, parang
Parang,
um
may
yeah,
shock factor.
may shock factor siya and then the
Gets.
humiliation that comes with it,
It
the
was
how
it was a
embarrassing.
hit to the ego, deep to the
It's
ego.
a big hit to the ego.
Yeah. Okay. I feel you.
And then like you don't even want to show your face to anyone.
Oh my
As in
gosh.
ganun yung feeling nun. We experience these kinds of things in different forms in our life. And siguro that point was I realized that I didn't want that to be the end or the mark of the end of my life. Not naman in a physical sense, but parang all the future that I envisioned for myself, that it would just end there. So the planner for me was a way to revisit what are my goals, what do I really want to do, and how do I design this life that I envisioned before graduation, and how can I make that happen. So the very first planner was that for me. That was parang what it meant to me.
Yeah. Na parang, okay. So, basically you're saying, oh, ito na. Susulat ko na lahat para planado, klaro, I can track everything and even my progress. And if I'm not doing good in this one part where I know I should be doing okay, then at least alam ko. Kesa you're going by feel, you're going by intuition. Intuition's there, but you can't trust it all the time. Um, just to add to what you're saying, parang I also feel like how people read analytics now. You know how Google has analytics to see how many people are viewing your page or Facebook analytics or all that. You basically are you pitch the idea of analytics of the self. So I think that's a great way to understand now that
Yeah.
if you're looking at a human-centered approach nga talaga, or even like a heart-centered approach, parang you have to know ano yung numbers or stats. Para kang pumunta sa doktor at nagpa-blood test or
Yes.
all that stuff. But ito, internal. Like,
Very
what your heart wants talaga.
correct.
I'm a I'm a big believer in that. I went through some challenges in my life when I was younger as well, which made me number one, understand my mortality, that I'm not permanent in this world. So, yun nga, parang I really have to make use of this time that I have. And Two is that I can also help other people wake up to the idea na kaya mo rin. Kahit anong age, kahit anong background mo, hindi naman dahil super iba yung background natin na hindi it won't work for you, but try it out. This is a way that you can actually literally change the direction of your life with planning.
As a culture kasi we don't plan. We live day to day. So it's a good and bad thing, 'di ba? Na Filipinos live in the present. Filipinos enjoy life, ganyan. But we don't really plan. We're not really the type to plan for the future. In fact, the Philippines or the Filipinos are one of the countries around the world that don't have savings. Diba? We don't, I mean, in terms of like, if you're looking on an economics level, financial markets, it's the Filipinos, our behavior, we don't plan for the future.
Yeah.
Which is why, for me, as you were sharing earlier, that sometimes it's just easier to just follow whatever's given to me. Na parang, okay, ito yung sinabi ng nanay ko mag-aral ako ng accounting, mag-graduate ako, magtrabaho ako. So it's sometimes just easy to follow the path. But the problem with that is that you're not living by design, which is what we're standing for as a company. Our company is Viviamo. And the Viviamo
We
is
live.
Italian. Oh, yes, exactly. For we live. So we want to encourage all Filipinos, empower all the Filipinos. You have to be able to say, I live. We live. How can you say that if you're following the planned path of someone and not yours? So that's really part of the journey, the self-discovery, the self-awareness, and then working towards how to make that happen in your life. Because it's not going to be easy. As you said, like, it's not like, okay, I know what I want, I'm going to get it tomorrow. Diba? You have to work for it. You have to plan for it. It's not as if na, okay, I know what my passion is. I'm going to drop everything. I'm going to drop all my responsibilities and just go for it. That's not also going to work. What are you going to eat?
Yeah.
But what if you...
Sorry, it's like,
Go ahead.
parang nagiging life coach sa sarili mo.
Yes.
You know, that's what I love about it. Na parang you're giving people the words to use on themselves. It's not about, kami yung sasabihin namin kung ano yung kailangan mong gawin. It's more of like, i-define mo kung ano yung gusto mong gawin, pero bibigay namin sa'yo yung questionnaire at the very least.
Exactly.
Or yung form, para at least ikaw mismo mag-fill up at ikaw makakahanap ng sarili mong sagot. Yeah, and that's what I feel
na.
Endorser. Game. So, that's what I love kasi I live by that rule. I had some close calls in my youth growing up that really felt like, parang, Jules, ano talaga yung gusto mong gawin mo sa buhay? Parang ano yung core ng spirit ng life mo na you can wake up every day and you'll want to do it. You'll feel like you'll even rush to get there because gusto mong nandun ka na. I wanted to ask you, so the name of your team is the Bellas.
Yeah, that's our community, the Bella tribe.
So I love it. So
these are our followers, our fans who've been using the Belle De Jour Power planner for the past 14 years.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's like, grew up with me, like I was still single. I mean, struggling, figuring out what I really want to do with my life. And same with the Bellas, figuring things out. So I'm so happy. I'm so lucky, privileged to be able to share this journey with a lot of the Bellas. Like we just did the survey. I think 60% of our current users have been using BDJ for at least 5 years.
Oh my God. 60%, 5 years.
60%, 5 years.
Wow.
Like, diba? Parang, okay.
That's good.
So parang they know. So we were together, or we use the planner. We see each other during events. When we were all single, and now some of us are married, some of us have children. So it's like a crazy, interesting journey.
Okay lang ba if I ask more about the Bellas? Because I know that
Sure, go ahead.
The Bellas to me is like this personality that encompasses all the different people who are part of your journey as well. And yun nga, there's a way for everyone to talk online, share posts. It's almost like this it's now a large community, but it's also become almost like a single person. Parang it's kind of it's taken its own shape and form. How does it feel that now that there's this world of the Bellas out there, and you're here, you're part of the community, and you have a say? Parang where do you feel this pushes empowerment? Where do you feel this really helps drive the change within your community?
I think ever since before, parang despite parang being like talking about empowerment all the time, one of my personal journeys is also parang stepping into my power. Meaning, ever since like a lot of my friends would know this, and some of the Bellas would also know this, that I don't like actually appearing in public. Even if it would seem like I'm a natural leader, the very first few years of BDJ, I was already been advised by my coach or my mentor that I should step out there, be one of the influencers like that. It was never that natural for me because it didn't feel like it was who I am. I didn't like really just putting myself out there. But I have also realized in the past years, most more recent years, is that it was also me not stepping into my power. So even when I talk about empowerment, all of these things, there's still that what's the term? Yung parang you feel like you
Imposter
haven't earned it.
syndrome.
You know, imposter syndrome. Yes, exactly.
But yeah,
So yeah, so I still
wavelength.
had that strong imposter syndrome. So it was still something that I'm still trying to struggle with. So to answer your question regarding leading the Bella tribe, I'm very happy that people resonated with our cause and that a lot of women are really looking for the support that they need, and then they look to us in BDJ to be able to give that. We're doing everything that we can on a workday basis to be able to support everyone. And siguro how it feels is that I feel the responsibility, but I also feel the possibilities with it. And I'm inspired by the Bellas that share their story with us. And I'm very proud to be part of this. But yun nga, I guess yung sa akin lang, just to share, hindi ko rin nafe-feel na parang, wow, they're all listening to me. I
Uh,
mean, wala pa ako
uh,
doon. Wala pa ako sa
gets.
stage yun. It's really more on like,
Yeah.
I'm amazed by their stories. I'm amazed by their trust in us.
It's
And
like it's happening in front of you.
yeah, it's happening in front of us.
Uh,
And we're watching, and then we're looking at, oh, how can we best serve them, and also how can we help them like grow into the person that they envision themselves to.
so yeah, and I feel like that's the type of energy that I want to be able to have, and I want people to have, but at home. So now, here we go, Dar. I want to know because work from home is it's a big word now. Work and home, it's like church and state. It's two separate sides of the spectrum, and right now it's from is like the word that connects both of them. So work from home, what are your thoughts, and how do you feel like it's really changing the atmosphere for us, even in motivation for people?
I think the most important thing that I would give as an advice for work from home is boundaries. Right now, because of what happened with COVID, and every most of the companies are forced to work from home setup. As I shared with you earlier this year, I was being interviewed for a work from home setup. I said like, I don't know, maybe it doesn't work for our company. And then look at us now. We're like 100% work at home. And the thing is, it's really the reason that we adapted to it is because for me as a owner or the leader of our company, I also wanted my team to be safe, right? And at the same time, I realize or I recognize that maybe COVID is what they're saying, the trigger for people to really move towards digital transformation. But there's so many challenges like in moving towards this as a company, as an individual. Because as I shared earlier, the keyword is boundaries. People underestimated that the travel time from home to office actually creates a certain kind of boundary in your mindset.
Yeah, that's true, no? O nga, no?
So, parang meron some sort of psychological, physical transformation
Walking
with
out the door of your room
walking out the
even.
door,
Uh,
parang seeing the world and then walking to another, I mean, location,
may
driving.
parang, may mental prep na yun.
Correct, exactly. That mental prep we have lost because of the work
Mm.
from home. So we have to create these kinds of boundaries or routines to make sure that you're able to transition and take some form of mental prep before you go to work. So ano yung nangyayari right after the COVID na lockdown? Okay, work at home tayo. Sige, instead of waking at 6 a.m., taking a bath, having breakfast, kasi I have to get out of the house by 7 or 7:30. So I'll be at work at 9. What time do you wake up? 8:30? Before the 9 a.m. clock in, maybe on an online setup, right? You give yourself like
A
this
little
30
close.
minutes. Yeah, that's like the closest possible way. Like I
Konti
know,
pa, snooze.
konti pa, yeah. Diba? Cramming mindset. I'm a crammer. So I know that. Like, sometimes I have a group that 7 a.m. every Wednesday we have a meeting. I wake up at 6:45, brush my teeth, wash my face. As in,
Wow.
agad, diba? So
Oo.
but before that, before COVID, I would wake up at 5 a.m., 4:30, do the whole ritual, diba? Because you have to get out of the house. And now, it's shortened.
And sometimes
So,
it feels good, di ba? Parang getting ready, getting prepared, looking
yeah,
good for going outside. That gives you that confidence for the day sometimes.
correct. Exactly. So, we lost these things that are routine in our life. And we underestimate the impact of this psychologically and emotionally. We think our first reaction was, yes, I have more time. Yung 2 hours ko sa traffic, I gain whether I sleep, watch Korean telenovela or whatever, diba? Baking, everyone's cooking right now. So maybe those 2 hours you put into those things. But at the same time, there's a cost to that. And the cost to that is that boundary that we've lost. And that's what I always remind people right now in the work from home setup. How are you setting up your boundaries?
So yun nga, parang you're helping people become more aware of their time and their I guess presence in the moment, that's for sure. But also tell me about how this now translates into lessons for your team. Like I love the fact that you are able to express what made you more efficient. How do you translate that now for your team who are also, you're talking to
So
me the same
yeah,
way now, the way you're
yeah,
probably going to talk to them later or tomorrow, or so how do you translate that to a group of people who have to achieve a
I don't
common
see.
goal?
Yeah.
uh
With the team, what worked for us is that in the past year, we have been evaluating what are the values that makes us who we are. So it's really rooting down or being more clear with what we stand for as a company, our identity. And we evaluated what are the values that makes us strong and makes us survive. Diba? So
yeah,
parang all
yeah,
the frameworks that we share are really just because of our experience, of our journey also. So with our team, number one is really the alignment of values. What do we value? Like we stand for our values are actually represented in an acronym called greater because we want to be greater versions of ourselves together. So G for grit, R is for responsible, E is for excellence, A is for accountability, T is for trust, E is for enthusiasm, and R is for relationship building. So
Nice.
these values is what makes us parang, okay, we believe in these values, we stand by this. We not just apply this in the company, but we also work on applying it in our lives. Kasi hindi naman kami perfect, eh, di ba?
Yeah.
Wala
Yeah.
bang perfect, di ba? So, madami naman nagkakamali. But we just, I guess, we anchor on that.
Yeah.
And then, each week, for me, for a company, for anyone who is running a company, holding a team, it's more important now to stay as aligned as possible. How do you stay aligned, not being physically together? What I tell my team is that before, since nagkikita tayo sa office, whether we like it or not, just because we are in each other's presence, we share each other's energy.
Mm-hmm.
And unconsciously, when we share each other's energy, nag-a-align tayo kahit papaano. Kasi we're in the same, I don't know, frequency, wavelength, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it.
My my
Diba?
con- my communication at the very least.
Oo, may communication. And then you have that physical energy. Diba? You can feel if someone's behind you, right? Even if that person isn't talking. That's physical energy that your body feels. Right now, it's gone. Because you don't see each other. So you have to find a way as a team, as a company, to create that, to find that. For us, what worked for us is creating a rhythm in our company. Part of the rhythm is every Monday morning, we have an alignment meeting. So we spend time on this. So instead of working, it's just a whole Monday morning. I'm updating everyone. What's happening in the Philippines? What are the COVID updates? What should we do? What can you expect from our company? And what are we focusing on this week? And then we have a 30-40 minute session in terms of how do you self-manage, like whether it's art therapy, journal therapy, habits, like how do you have the right habits. In the early weeks, it was always about boundaries, like do you still take a
That's good.
bath before your 9
Uh-uh.
a.m. meeting, diba?
Parang
Yung
you have to be normal pa rin. Don't
yeah,
forgo your normalcy just because yung sa labas hindi normal.
hindi normal, exactly.
Uh,
Kasi parang, I mean, we have to be honest, during the first week or I don't know, even the first month, you don't take a bath every day. Nobody gets to see you. Nobody gets to smell you. So parang, I'll rather sleep. I won't take a bath. Parang susuklay na lang ako ng buhok.
the
Tapos,
rules start bending, things start
ah,
crumbling.
correct. But the
Yeah,
thing
I
is,
agree.
part of it, diba? Same with the travel, the transition. Taking a bath gives a signal to your brain that you're preparing for the day. Kasi if you let that go, eventually, tatamarin ka sa araw mo and you don't know why. And you think it's because there's COVID or there's a lot of craziness outside your room. But the truth is, it's because it's your habit change. You
Mm-hmm.
started not preparing for your day as you were
Yeah,
doing before.
I agree.
Because of that, you started not feeling ready to face the world. 'Di ba? It goes back to your small routine. What do you do? Alam nga naman what I tell my team and what I tell the community also. Alam nga naman, we hide under our blankets and not get out of bed anymore, 'di ba? We have to wake up, take a bath, and just do what we can on a day-to-day basis because our mission right now with COVID is to make the world go around again.
Mm-hmm.
So even if we don't have I mean, I'm not a doctor. I can't figure out a vaccine. I'm not a leader of a country or whatever that I can. I mean, I don't have that power. But what I have power on is my team. I can influence them. What I have power on is my influence on my family and friends. What I have power on is on myself. That I empower myself to get out of bed and do what I can to make the economy or our country moving again. So what I would also tell my team, like our Viviamo team, that so many companies have closed down. There's 2,000, there's 2 million. Those are the last numbers I read, that parang 2 million Filipinos lost their jobs. So it's like, right now, we're still one of the lucky ones that are able to survive despite working from home, despite not knowing how to work from home ever in the past 14, 15 years of our lives. And then suddenly, we were able to adapt successfully.
Can I say something lang? We have to admit rin
Sure,
naman that some people kasi they're not as internet savvy naman talaga.
correct.
Some people are so used to the real human interaction that having to switch to Zoom or to Facebook Messenger or whatever you're using, parang to them it's like it's a world I don't even really know. So my anxiety rin yun to put your face, to put your face on the internet or the web. 'Di ba? There's that level of parang it's new technology. It's like you're entering a new digital world and you're being born into a digital world pretty much.
Correct.
Um,
Forced into right now, or
forced into.
yeah, you're
Wow.
being forced.
If not, you're at home listening to the radio or watching TV. That's probably another source of information. But kung wala kang internet, parang ang hirap and you can't deny it.
Yeah. So right now we're in this time, or in this world we're in, we're being forced to move to the next level. And there's so much uncertainty, so much anxiety. And you're right, parang not a lot of people are ready for it. So even if in our company that our general average age is around 30, 32 years old, so very young, we're all millennials. I'm just on the older part of the millennials, but we're all millennials in our company. But despite being mostly a millennial group and some Centennials, nahirapan din kami. It's not easy because it's not your mindset when you're going online, you're gonna work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Part of the mindset is when I go online, it's social. I'm hanging out with my friends. I'm nagchichika on here and there.
Oo.
And now you're being forced. No, you have to earn money online.
Oo. And the messages have to be clear. Like, when someone tells you, oh, ito yung kailangan natin gawin, ganun, ganun, and you have to really pay attention to what the person's saying through the internet. Instead of, kunyari, chika-chika lang online, you don't really have to pay attention too much to the words because you're really just having a relaxed conversation. But kung
Yeah.
work, hindi pwede na, ano? What? Sorry? What?
Yeah, correct. And
Parang,
then, if it's in person, when you're giving instructions in person, it's easier. Kasi parang you can read each other na, hindi niya ako nagigets dito, so you repeat it. And then, or dito, parang nababasa niya na parang we're not aligned anymore, so they'll ask questions. But virtual, it's
mm-mm.
hard to read people.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
it's hard to read that parang, okay, nagigets ko ba talaga? Yan ba talaga yung ina-explain niya? So sometimes even receiving instructions is very difficult. And on both ends, ako, nahihirapan ako. Like, so giving instructions and then sometimes receiving instructions. You really have to practice the echoing back. Like, you mirror what's being said. And because it's very difficult. Because yun nga, hindi mo makita eh. You don't have the physical presence that would, I think I really feel like that's I'm feeling that that's a reason that if we're physically present with each other, it's easier to read our energies, not
Oo.
subconsciously. It's
Mas
not
clear
even
yung
a conscious
message.
thing. Yeah,
Yung
it's
tone
very
ng
subconscious.
voice, body, what do you
The
call it?
body
Body
language. Yeah.
language. Tama.
So, but now it's all gone. What you hear is just the voice, and sometimes it's without context. Diba?
That's a very good
So,
point.
ayun, very challenging. And it challenges all of us to become better communicators. That whatever the words we use, it's the words that people will understand what we mean. So that's another thing with the work from home.
You have to be clear
Parang
nga
that's what
naman.
yeah. Parang before, parang may effort ka naman to be clear. But now, mas important pa to be clear because since we don't see each other, mas mataas yung you're more prone to misunderstanding each other.
Gets. So okay, let's pull into the conversation. I wouldn't say distractions, but I guess things that we need to watch out for when we're working from home. Say for example, me, I'm a pet owner. I have two cats, and they have to be locked in the room. So, di ba, parang may ganun na challenge na very specific rin naman for some people. So, is there any type of, what have you been noticing are good habits for some people in terms of just trying to get that focus in and so that the message gets across clearly without being distracted by other things?
What I shared with my team is like when you're creating the boundaries I think is very important. In the beginning, your family is also not prepared for you to be working at home, 'di ba? So like in terms of their mindset, nandito ka sa bahay, bakit hindi ka nag-hangout with us? Bakit ka nagtatrabaho, 'di
That's
ba? Nasa
exactly what my
bahay ka
cats
eh.
say.
That's a cat. That's a cat are saying. Why are you here and you're working, 'di ba? So
Mm-mm.
there's also that mindset change. So there needs to be a conversation also with your family. Especially those of us na parang we're working, tapos our parents are home, uutusan ka, maghugas ka nga ng pinggan, maglaba ka nga dyan. Ma'am, nagtatrabaho ako dito. Bakit mo pinapagawa ng chores, di ba? So, it's the mindset shift. You have to be able to create the boundaries. And if you don't create the boundaries, that those interruptions, those distractions will come again and again. And if you don't take control of it, it will also hurt you. Kasi parang feeling ng parents mo, hindi mo sila pinapakinggan. Ikaw naman, hindi ka nila iniintindi. 'Di ba? Same thing. I'm a mom. I have two kids. I have also two cats. So, my kids are like crazy going around. Like
Sorry,
parang,
two
mommy,
cats is already a lot. And then you
yeah.
have kids pa.
I have two kids. I have two toddlers who like that's why the timing of this is at this time because they're sleeping. Um, Yun, parang you really have to create the boundaries. So for me, my two children are like 2 years old and 4 years old. One of the
Oh,
first
wow.
things I sort of taught them during this pandemic is the days of the week.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Just to be able to differentiate that if it's a weekday, if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's mommy's work day. So if it's mommy's work day, I can't play with you. I can put you down for bedtime. I'll wake you up in the morning. We can play a bit together. But during the day, mommy will be in the computer. So it's setting those boundaries. So I wrote it like the days of the week on a bond paper, and we posted it outside near the living room. And then we review what day is it today? Oh, what do we do if it's Monday? And then like I think a month ago we started doing online classes because personally I was also in denial na no,
My
babalik din
kids are
tayo.
gonna learn, they're gonna learn from the real school.
Yeah. So, but a month ago, sabi ko, fine, fine. This is how it's gonna be. So, we did some trial classes and tried it out, and then thankfully it worked. Na parang my daughter really liked it and enjoyed it, and I guess parang in a way she feels like she's also working.
That's
Like,
cool.
mommy,
That's
yeah.
really
So,
cool.
parang the routine of it parang is helping. So
And they
I
can mirror you.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's always setting boundaries from your family. I don't know how you'll talk to your cats, but at least the family, the people, the human beings that you're living with are people essentially you can talk to no matter how young or no matter how old. Just have a good conversation about it. Then, second, in terms of boundaries, is you have to set a new routine for yourself because again, talking about the travel time going to work. So how do you recreate that? Hindi naman na fake na. Maglalakad ako ng ilang kilometers from the kitchen so para mukha ako nagta-travel to work. Hindi naman ganon. But you just create like certain new things na to change your mindset na I'm gonna be in work mode now. So one of my teammates would like put on perfume.
Oh,
Another
wow.
teammate would be putting on makeup. kahit hindi kami nagve-video call like, guys, voice lang tayo. Parang ganyan.
That's nice. I think it's a really great technique.
Diba?
Uh-uh.
So, and then,
It's you
our other
using your
tips.
other senses.
Yes, exactly. Because right now, that's all we have. So, what are the things inside your control? Again, focusing on what you can do to make things better for yourself, to signify that your work mode. So, for me, there's a space in actually, I work in my bedroom because the kids are all over the place outside. So, there's no other place for me. So, the routine on the day-to-day basis, these like small habits that you can do can really create like the kind of mindset shift that you need to be able to mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and physically prepare yourself for work.
There's the intangible that's hard to get ready. 'Di ba? Parang mahirap nga na kung hindi ka mentally ready, you jump in tapos magtatrabaho ka na. Pero there's also the side of at least getting what you can in order, which is the technical stuff. 'Di ba? Parang you will have to talk to people, you will need a microphone, or kung hindi naman kailangan microphone, kahit camera. Or so what would you say is are the non-negotiables for a decent work from home setup?
Internet.
Anong speed
So,
dapat? May speed requirements ka or hindi naman?
what I initiated with our team during the first few weeks, was also to evaluate the internet capabilities of their homes. Because if you're gonna do this for the next 2 to 3 months and you will have daily frustrations about the internet, I mean, save yourself from the headache na, diba? Do not do mobile na parang connecting from your phone and so on. It's not sustainable. So the very first thing for me is the internet. Like, look at how you can have a line, or if not a line, like evaluate which parang mobile router, if you're gonna do mobile. Diba may router na yung SIM, pinapasok lang in the router. So you can test that and see which signal will work for you best. It's also about identifying what time of the day you have the best internet so you can hold your meetings during those time.
Okay.
Because like for us in our company, like napapansin namin around 4, 5 o'clock,
Okay.
bumabagal yung internet in general.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we minimize meetings there. But it's not a technical requirement, but it's not good to be aware lang since you have internet na. The other thing is, of course, having a desktop or a computer. So laptop, desktop, it doesn't matter. Just a computer that you'll be able to use and connect to the internet. So if you're using a desktop, you need a wired connection. So either you have a LAN cable or something that will connect to your router, or you have an adapter, the Wi-Fi router that's USB or for desktops. For the sounds and the camera, if you're not meeting anyone, it depends Kasi syempre there's admin roles, there's marketing roles, there's sales roles. So for me, of course, prefer that there's a video camera. But the most important thing that I've learned is more than the video camera, what's most important is the voice. Because the sound affects the quality of the conversation the most virtually. It's the sound, not necessarily just the visual. Because in a setup, you can have a Zoom call. Everyone's face is just like a picture or a name, right? In a Zoom call.
Yep.
But if you can have really good conversations as long as the sound is very clear and crisp.
Agree.
So
Agree.
which points to, since there's a sound issue, do you have a place in your house wherein it's not so noisy?
Tama.
So I don't know if that's the bathroom. But,
I'm actually in the bathroom now. I'm kidding.
Para may automatic, may sound. So sometimes it's that because it's very distracting when you're having online meetings. May tumutulaok na manok, diba, on the side, or parang the I don't know, all these other outside noise.
My cat meows all the time. My gosh.
It's either you have like that setup where in your mic you have a space, but if you can afford it, then the other aspect is having a professional mic that cancels the outside noise a bit more. So But on going on the basics, just on the basic, it's really just a very stable internet connection, having a reliable computer. I don't know if you want to go technical requirements in terms of RAM and
Okay
and
lang. I
server power,
mean,
mga ganyan.
hindi naman kailangan pag Zoom naman yung
Ganun.
gagamitin, 'di ba? I mean, pag
Oo, hindi
apps,
naman.
and yun nga, I feel like hearing you say this also will reaffirm other business owners as well out there that what they're thinking is correct nga naman talaga, na ito yung kailangan i-focus on kung nagmi-meeting kami. Like, I had no idea that, I mean, you said it clearly when you said that sound is really what matters. So, parang that to me is a realization today that you have to have better sound, and si video kahit picture lang okay na basta maganda yung sound mo, 'di ba? So, ano yung magiging I guess realization and advice mo for people who are trying to essentially right now hustle, they're trying to stay afloat, and they're trying to run their businesses post COVID? What are the anchors that have held you strong during this time?
Number one is self-care is the most important thing. Again, like when we were talking about it earlier, sometimes we go rush and save other people. We save our business. Our business is not who we are. We have to save ourselves first. Save our team, diba? That's the automatic. There's that altruistic aspect. But the thing is, it won't be of help to anyone if you are not okay. So number one is really the self-awareness of where you are as an individual in this situation. That's why it's going. I mean, it sounds so emotional, wishy-washy, but it's really connecting with your emotions. It's connecting to where you are, and writing it down helps release that. Writing it down gets a bit more clarity. The key is not to judge where you are, whatever you're feeling, wherever you are, but rather just to be aware of it. Because it doesn't matter where you are. Wherever you are, you can move up. Wherever you are, you can make a step forward. Wherever you are, you can solve problems. But you cannot do those things if you do not know where you're starting from. So the number one thing is self-care. Number two is really evaluating your assets. So even as an employee, team member, a leader, a business owner, a hustler, meaning a freelancer na nag-hustle, like all of these
Mm-hmm.
things that you mentioned, you have to evaluate your assets. So you evaluate your assets. What are you good at? What are you weak at? So even your weaknesses, you have to write down. So it's an honest self-assessment of your skills, your capabilities, yourself, and your team. Okay, so it's number two is really so first is the self care. Number
Mm-hmm.
two is the self assessment of your skills, your capabilities, and even your weaknesses. Because if you're aware of your weaknesses, then you know what kind of people or what kind of companies will be able to complement you, which is also important, right? So number two is the self assessment, and then after you do the self assessment, number three is evaluate what value you can create based on your assessment. Get so
Yeah.
parang given your strengths, given what you can do, given your talents, given your skills, given what your team is good at, what value can you create the world at this time that they will need? So
So parang saan
I
ka
know
makakatulong?
saan ka makakatulong, but I would put it on a value aspect. Why? Because you need to earn money.
Mm-hmm.
So value is created when people are willing to give you money and people are willing to pay you for it.
Mm.
Kasi you can't just be helping just
Yeah.
for the sake of helping and then you don't have food on the table. Parang you look back, what am I good at again? And you try to remember. And sometimes it's easy to fall into the insecurities na I'm not good at anything. Parang we're not
Cats.
ganito. But you have to really look deep because you won't be here where you are right now if you didn't do anything right. So you did something
Tama.
right.
Tama.
And look at what that right thing you did. And look at that and focus on that and create something out of it. It doesn't have to work immediately also. So that's why there's a iteration or yung parang there's a process to it. So number 4 would be creation of the process or systematizing it. So if you make a mistake, your pivot isn't working, na parang, oh, I thought this will work for me, whether this work from home system na magigising lang ako 10 minutes before my meeting, feeling ko kaya ko eh. Iinom lang ako ng kape, okay na. And hindi siya nag-work. Then you have to change, right? You have to adjust. Okay, 30 minutes before naman. So, you have to incorporate that parang process or process analysis, I guess. And then at the same time, if you're a company, you do the same. Is this product that we're creating at this point in time, will we be able to earn money from it now so that we can create the cash flow? Because if you do not have cash flow at this point in time, how will you pay your employees tomorrow? So everybody needs to be clear na parang right now, before, when we talk about value, it sounds so intangible. Na basta makatulong tayo sa mga tao, basta may kwenta naman yung product natin, may kwenta naman yung service natin eh. But now, the definition of value is actually stricter. It needs to be what someone will pay for at this time of COVID. Yes. Because
Yep.
otherwise, if you don't figure that out, people won't shell out cash at this
Yeah.
time.
Hindi mo nakuha yung vibe ng mundo kung iba yung product na pinapalabas mo.
Correct. So, there's a lot of experimentation. So I guess the better word for number 4 is experimentation. So you have to be open for the experimentation. Personally, like your processes, what will work for you. As a company, what will work for you. But again, since this is a pivot, it doesn't mean na gumagawa kami ng planners, magbebenta na lang kami ng pagkain. Kasi essentials. I mean, you go back, there's a reason why you've achieved this much at this point in time, right?
Mm-mm.
What's sort of connected business to your business or in terms of strengths?
Hindi yung parang
what
drop
is that?
everything, di ba?
Drop everything and then start a new business. Hindi necessarily yun eh. Not necessarily the answer. You really have to look at your strengths. And that's I guess the challenging part. And you cannot do this whole process if you don't have that self-awareness. Because, or even if you're in denial, na no, go back to normal, no, parang kaya yan, ganyan. But maybe kaya 2 months. But what if it's 3 months? What if it's 6 months? Right? Right now, we're on to 4 months. I think 6 months is very realistic. We're still going to be like next 2 months from now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So,
expect the worst. Hope for the best, expect for the worst, right?
Yeah. So that's why the way I tell my team in terms of experimentation, and that's why it's also there's a need to be slightly fast about it or parang very targeted. What do I mean by fast and targeted? Meaning you have a hypothesis, ito yung theory mo, itetest mo specifically to that. Kasi kung sabog din yung pag-experiment mo, then you won't get the answers that you need. Right? And if you don't get the answers that you need, you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money and you're wasting the experiment. What an analogy I tell my team is that right now, in a way, well, at least for us, parang I think the analogy, but I think it can still work. It's like Noah's Ark. You know that there's so many conversations right now that the economy is gonna shrink drastically. Some people have felt it, some people not so much, right? But how do you, kasi parang it takes time for on a macro na ma-feel on a micro level, diba? How will you prepare for it as a company and as an individual? So like just yesterday, Friday, we had the financial management talk in our company because you need to be able to know how to manage your cash at this time. So even if may sweldo ka, mas mahirap kung your sweldo is affected, whether partially or in full, right? But you need to be able to learn how to manage your cash and manage how things will be 2 months from now, 3 months from now. So it's like the Noah's Ark preparing the ark when the rains are gonna come. So how do you prepare for it? So now we're given a bit of time to build our own arcs, and that's where I guess I encourage everyone to be in that kind of mindset.
It's like people had a taste already that the future is not stable. So, dapat naka-prepare na yung shock absorbers mo in different ways. Dapat may emotional shock absorber, financial, all your assets, you prepare, basta naka-prep ka lang talaga para at least if there's another thing like that happens, like how COVID kind of sideswiped us and parang people weren't ready, at least now they know what to be ready for.
And I will add the fifth thing is that it's the learning aspect, to be an avid learner, to continuously learn. So right now, some people will say na, wala, dumating na yung bagyo, I didn't have time to build the art. I don't have savings. I don't have the mental capacity. But you still have you. You're still okay physically. You're listening to this podcast. There's some awareness that's going on. So there's something you can still do. So I would go encourage learning. So there are free stuff in the internet right now. So many free things online. Read up in terms of things that you are interested on. And maybe you can look at things na you can sideline in. Kasi just as the whole world is suffering with what's happening, one of the things that I've read that would save the Philippines, which I'm hoping for, is that first world countries will be outsourcing to the Philippines or outsourcing to countries like us. So make sure you have a lot of skills that people can pay for. So learn.
Dar, I feel like you were talking straight to my soul. I feel like it's the message is really digging deep into how I also want to be perceiving this opportunity in this crisis. And I just want to say, like, I'm so grateful to have you on the show. I feel like there are so many people out there who are going to hear this and say, "Oh nga no, it was in the back of my head, but because it was verbalized, then na-confirm na totoo talaga siya. Or at least there's someone out there who sees it the way I see it." So Dar, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you. Thank you also.
And before we let you go, can you tell us how can we have our own planners and where can we find you online?
You guys can find us online in crazyaboutpaper.com. All our products are there. And then we also support like artists, like content creators, Filipino content creators, and we sell their stuff on our website. So we're just a fan about fans on paper, but it's not just paper. It has other things about creativity and productivity. So it's perfect for this COVID season. And then in social media, of course, the Belle De Jour Power Planner fan page in our group, the Bella Tribe. And for Crazy About Paper, same thing. We have the Crazy About Paper fan page naman for
I can't wait to be a Bella.
that.
Really, because it's gonna be, I love being motivated. I respond to words of affirmation, and I'm always looking for my treasure trove of other people who are in the same mindset. So thank you so much, Dar. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait till we are able to see each other in the real world as well. It's been such a pleasure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
So that ends our episode for today, and we are happy to have Darlyn Ty-Nilo in Loop Me In podcast. So please listen or download to our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean. Also catch us on Facebook and YouTube, but please also follow us on our official social media accounts. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This has been Jules Rodriguez, and this is Loop Me In.